And I mean, these niggas be like, "Mama, mama, I love you, mama, my mama, my mama." You know what I'm saying? Shit, man, I could have been like that. You know, I could have easily been like that, man. I understood that shit. I mean, and I also think my step pops for a lot of things, man. My step pops, I mean, he wasn't the best person in the world, wasn't the best man in the world, but certain things about being a man that he did teach me before he died. You know, he was heavily on drugs, and my mom's little brother was definitely on drugs real bad, and he was raised by a single mother who supported him through all the fuckery, in and out of jail, on drugs, stealing shit out the house. And, you know, my grandmother would always say, I made this house for all of my children and grandchildren. But her daughters said, hey, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta hurry and get up out of this house. And her two sons were the fuck ups. Like, one son messed over her funds so bad. I mean, every car that I've ever known these guys to have, my grandmother co-signed for them to get it ever since I was a kid. You know, and the one that's on drugs, my grandmother even bought him motorbikes, bought him, you know, cars, and he's always fucked them up, and then runs back and destroys her car. I mean, put her through hell, man. All right. So when I talk about weak black men, I'm telling you this from a first-hand experience, bro. I have seen it. It is fucking terrible. You know, when I talk about the passion that I have as far as like the dislike for these motherfuckers, oh, because the oldest fucking uncle that I have out of my grandmother's children, the oldest one, every time when there was some type of pyramid plan, some type of come up, some type of business move, first thing he got to call, mama, mama, mama. Borrowed $10,000 from her, fucked that up, stressed my grandmother out so bad that she caught a fucking stroke. And then he moved out of state and didn't go back to fucking see her because he was so fucking guilty behind the shit. I mean, so when I talk about this shit, I really mean, you know, like I have a strong passion and a dislike for these niggas. I haven't talked to my uncle in years. He knows I don't fuck with him. The one that's been in and out of jail on drugs, which is the younger one, the youngest boy out of all of my grandmother's children. I've had several battles with him as well, but you know, I tend to, you know, learn to kind of like let shit go with him, and even with him, it's like my mom had to tell him, hey, you can't be asking Sam for money like that. Me asking Sam for money and shit constantly. Like he's never ever been able to get on his own. You try to give him advice, and the nigga just, you know, does whatever the fuck he wants to. Now he has just gotten out of jail for, you know, he's done what 6 7 months in jail because one of my grandmother's daughters have taken over my grandmother's assessment since she has caught the stroke, and you know, for obvious reasons, you know, my uncle couldn't handle the funds, and he was staying in the house with my grandmother, and you know, still doing whatever the fuck he wanted to in the house, even though he promised now that my grandmother caught a stroke and is no longer able to speak, that he would stop doing drugs. And you know, he's continuously started fucking up with the drugs, and my aunt put him on the street, had him sleeping in the backyard because he's never left the house. You know, and I know a lot of guys, you know, back home, they for some reason don't want to leave the crib. They don't want to leave the neighborhood. They've never ventured out. You know, it's all about the hood that they were born and raised in. They never want to leave mama's nest. You know, what the fuck is up with that shit? And it was because of them, you know, they taught me basically what type of guy not to be. Especially when you had my mom hovering the shit over my head, like, you're gonna be like your cousins, you're gonna be like your uncles. And I had to prove her wrong. And the reason why she would say things like that is because, you know, during my teenage years, even though I was a very intelligent, smart kid, kind of kept to myself, kind of was a loner, had a lot of friends, but also loved to do my own thing, and I was different. And, you know, still, like some of the fuckery that would go on in the neighborhood, I would mildly be a part of the shit, even though I still educated myself. So, you know, she said, "Oh, you're gonna be just like them." And then also, I was into entrepreneurship with, you know, older cousins and things of that nature. But if it wasn't for my mom, which, you know, like I guess some guys on YouTube they say, well, when you're raised a certain way and you're raised to be nice and all that, you're being raised for other races of women, and that shit is true as fuck. Like I've heard someone say that shit, and if it wasn't for like some of the male role models in my life, I would probably be fucked up right now. I'm definitely not on that mama, mama, mama shit. I've never been on that because like when Baby Boy came out, for instance, I actually know a friend of mine. I mean, he's been in and out of jail as well, heavy on drugs. We're the same age. He went through the same shit that Tyrese went through on Baby Boy, where his mom found a new guy, and he thought that he can control the house and shit like that. And stepdaddy put it on his ass, like put him in his place, like this is my motherfucking girl. This is not your girl. That shit actually happens. And then years later, like we was talking about Baby Boy, he's like, yeah, man, man, that's the same shit that my pops did to me. He did the same shit to me. And he's right. Motherfucker did do that shit to him. It was some weak-minded shit. And, it's just nothing like having your own. It's nothing like leaving the nest and being able to take care of yourself like a man does. I mean, when I was coming up, even though I was raised by a single parent, my mom and my grandmother, and, my grandmother has brothers who are all carpenters. So during the summer, I would take and work with them and help gut out houses and renovate houses so that they can rent them out. And I have one uncle who had a lot of boats and shit, and he would take me boat riding, and I would talk to him about a lot of shit. My step pops, he played basketball in high school. Could have had a college and possibly a professional career, but he got hung out with the wrong crowd. He got on those drugs and kind of fucked him up. But, I learned a lot of shit, like the do's and the don'ts and how to become a man, and I never avoided those different things. So I am thankful for a lot of the guys, even my uncle, my grandmother's sons. I've learned a lot from them as well. I've learned what type of man not to be. And then also going on to my father's side, which he has also, he was raised by a single mother as well. And he has mother's boys. If you listen to my video when I talk about the importance of last names, I actually talk about my father's father with that shit because he realizes now after what I told him, like all of your children, as far as the males, they did not basically carry on the last name. The last name is not carried on through your son. So none of your grandchildren have your last name. So with that being said, your name is gone. So, my grandfather, for the most part, like he's a weak man as well. As old as he is, has his own Baptist church and, a lot of women who go to his church every week. He has a lot of things that he says that shows me how weak he is and how thankful I am to have not come under that umbrella. But, it's a whole nother story. So, I know some people are going to be like, oh, he's talking about his personal shit. I just want to tell you, like, how this shit really does bother me. It really does. And it's an embarrassment. And I've always fought to change it, and I think I've done a successful job. I've brought it up several times to my mom and my aunts. And, they can proudly say that I did not take that road. So the whole weak black male thing, and like I said in the previous video, a lot of these guys, they are not able to provide for themselves legally. For some reason it's like, either they can't leave the nest or they're not too far away from the nest. They can always call the nest and get help from the women. They never call the guys up because the older guys would tell them, hey, man, you got to just get it for yourself, Like, for me, if I fell on my ass and I was to call my mom for help, or even my mom's husband for help, it would be no problem because it's never been a trend of mine. I've never been a habitual, beggar, in so many words. So for me, it's like, well, yeah, Sam, we don't mind helping you out because you have never implemented these types of issues before. But, like I said, my grandmother's son, that motherfucker can't stay by nobody's house. And anytime he asks for money, there's always a thought in people's head of what he's going to use the money for. And that's a terrible fucking way to, think about someone, or even a terrible way to feel how someone is thinking about you. So I never wanted that type of issue. Never. You know? But it's the mama, 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 mama. Mama is, basically staying with someone else, has a caregiver while my aunts go to work. And, my aunt not boarded up the house, but she put burglar bars on the house, which has never been on the house before. And she basically had the bills transferred over to her, and she's paying my grandmother's bills while my grandmother is staying with a caretaker in another home. So my uncle is fucked. Like, he can't even sleep in the garage, and he's been begging to sleep in the garage. So now he's in a homeless shelter somewhere because, it's scaring the shit out of him, because here he is in his early 50s. His mom has always been there for him, but he's always run his mom through the dirt. I mean, ever since I was born. Maybe one day I'll get the chance to do a video about that. But when we talk about weak black men, oh man, I mean, he cuts everybody's grass in the neighborhood, washes everybody's car. But when I talk to him about getting his own lawnmower business and, possibly saving up money to have his own car shop, since he likes to work on everybody's car in the neighborhood. And since he loves to take and wash everyone's car, hey man, why don't you just, go ahead and start a business for yourself? It's not even a possibility for him, because the minute he gets money, it's over to the dope man. And it's fucked up, because a lot of these dope men who he's getting his dope from, these are guys who I came up with and grew up with and know. And it's like, I'm not around to tell him, hey man, stop selling my uncle this shit. Then he's gonna take and run and sneak over to them any fucking way. But hopefully now that he's out, maybe this will be a whole turnaround for him, because he has never been able to take and go to jail and get out and not be able to go back home to the nest. All right. So, luckily my little brother and I, we didn't come up like that. Like, we always knew, from the guys who came up before us, these are the type of motherfuckers that we do not need to be like, because the women hated them. They hated my uncles for this shit. So, weak black men, bruh. Weak black men are, they're just a fucking parasite, man. Sad to say. It's a parasite. Even the ones, like I said in the previous video before this one, the fucking lowlives who get these women pregnant, can't take care of these kids, and then they running around trying to scramble money for a fucking abortion. You know what I'm saying? Sad shit, man. I know the women gonna probably be like, yeah, you right, yeah, Sam, kick that shit. But, stop fucking with these guys. Seriously, stop fucking with them. And you got a lot of these women on here, they talking about all black men ain't shit. All black men impoverish everything that they touch. I mean, damn, for real? Seriously? You know what I'm saying? And when you, like I say, you look at their fucking history, what do you see? You see a guy that's been, career criminal half of his fucking life, has kids by multiple different women, but then all men are fucked up and impoverished. And then when they look at guys like me, it doesn't matter if you have your own place and you have your own cars. It doesn't matter how many fucking degrees you have. You're still a dog too. Damn. Like, I've always wanted, the type of woman where I can come home and be like, hey, how you doing? How's the kids? Pet the dog and all that shit. Sure. These women don't want that shit. And like I said, it's a possibility that a lot of these women, they want these guys who are masculine, but when it comes down to controlling a house, they want a weak man. Men like me are not the ideal when it comes down to that fucking situation, because we are going to call the shots. We have the standards that are there that need to be put in place. And women can't get with that fucking type of program, whether they have kids or not. Like these women, they want the baby, and then after that, fuck you, go ahead on about your business. We'll get your child support, Let me get your social security number, just in case, so I can get some social security, just in case you die. You know what I'm saying? But with these weak ass niggas, you can't do that. All you got is the baby. Some social security and all that, but damn. And you gotta do, The ones like, yeah, I can't really say too much, I'm my girl, man, or I can't really come outside, man, I can't go nowhere, man, because I'm a girl, man, if I leave and do this, she ain't gonna let me stay here no more, you know what I'm saying, I'm a girl, and then meanwhile these motherfuckers are doing whatever they want to, and then they're calling their mom and shit, calling their grandmother and telling their grandmother how, yeah, man, I'm paying all the bills over here, I'm helping Keisha with the bills. You dig? And I mean, I've heard some of these niggas say this shit. Like hanging out, chilling with these niggas on the porch, just sipping a couple beers. And these are homies of mine, just out there sipping a couple beers. And, here they all telling their mother on the phone or their grandmother, yeah, the grandmother sounded so proud thinking her grandson is paying the bills and taking care of his family, taking care of his baby mama and his child or children. And this nigga's on the phone lying and saying, yeah, man, I'm helping her, take care of the bills and stuff like that. Ain't doing a motherfucking thing. And boy, I mean, I'm dark skinned, but boy, I get red in the fucking face with that shit, man. I start turning purple. My blood starts to boil. I was like, oh, man. It's motherfuckers like you, bro. Yeah, man, I'll come on, let's go to the corner store, let's get a couple more beers, man. And it be like that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I try to sneak shit in. A couple women, they catch on to some of the shit I be saying about these old fuck ass niggas. I'm just not on YouTube making these videos about it. That's why I want to give you guys like some stories to let you know, like, yo, I mean, I really lived this shit. I have really been out in the trenches. I'm still out in the trenches. And, the shit is real. Like, they have some weak ass black men out here. You know what I'm saying? And then when they get older, it's all about mama still, until mama dies and shit, and then all of a sudden they're fighting with the sisters on, who's going to keep the house, and then the grandmother, my partner's grandmother, but, their matriarchal mother basically has made a statement or, just made out some type of will or document, some type of ledger that says, the bad son, the drug-headed son, he gets the place to stay. He always will have a roof over his head no matter what. Because they know that this dude can't go out and independently make it on his own. When the mother's like, well, I created this monster and, now everybody else has to deal with the shit. Everybody else has to deal with this shit now. So it peeves me. It really peeves me. So, bruh. But these are the motherfuckers that's having these kids, and you wonder why you got these baby mamas out here. And these little boys are growing up. It's like, there's always that saying where women raise their daughters, but they love their sons. Mama, mama, mama. I mean, that shit is really strong out here. Seriously strong. I mean, shit, I can never fall into that type of subordinate position. With a female, I mean, I play my role, you play your role, and that's what it is. But these motherfuckers are sad with this shit. Yeah, man. My girl, she paying everything, man. I can't really make no argument. I can't really have an opinion about nothing like that. And that's pretty much what it is. But when you met these guys, it was all about, yeah, bitch, come on over here. Get your number. It's shit like that. Like these niggas was basically throwing that mouthpiece on them. But then when the funds run low, and these women know the funds gonna run low, they know that shit. I mean, it's just as obvious as Tiger Woods marrying his white bitch, and she knows that, hey, this guy has all of this money, all this fortune. Like, it's a science to this shit. He's gonna eventually cheat, or, we can easily say that he hit me, and now all of a sudden I have half of everything. This shit exists. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a small percentage of women who obviously don't know what the fuck is going on. They may have thought that this guy was going to change because he said that he loves me and this is how it is. And, but for the most part, these women, they want a motherfucker with confidence. They want a nigga who can stand up and beat the pussy up and all of that shit. But, like I say, it comes down to the point where these women end up singling the dick. They might want the dick whenever they want it and shit. Just like the stroke, just like the movie Baby Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, his baby mamas didn't want a relationship with him. I mean, maybe Taraji's character, but the previous baby mama, she didn't want a relationship from him. All she wanted was some penis every now and then. Then that was it. Like, she can independently take care of her own. Every now and then she just wanted him to come over there and knock it out real quick, and then he can go on about his fucking business. Shit, man. Let me go ahead and stop this video. Like I said earlier, you want to reach out to me, get at me at samsemantics@gmail.com. That's SAMSEMANTICS@gmail.com. See it at the bottom right there. And also you can get at me on Facebook, Sam Semantics. Actually, Sam Semantic will send you there. And then you can also catch me on Instagram and also follow me on Twitter. I'm going to have some hot shit on there real soon. So this is part 2 for weak black men, and I might even do a part 3, because there's various types of weak black men out there. We can get into the grown feminine black men, like my uncle will fall into this category. My grandmother's oldest son, he fall into this category where you got the grown ones who, just act a little feminine for my fucking taste, but you can't really call them gay because they're still fucking around with women. But when it just comes to their their mannerisms and the way they act, and how they want all this flamboyant shit but can't keep a steady job. And then you got these motherfucking black guys at the workforce, at the work environment, corporate America, who's just constantly tap dancing and kissing ass for these fucking white folks and shit. The weak black men who basically think that everything is just peaches and fucking cream, and multiculturalism it's what's in, and they never take off the shades. They never realize that it's just the game to bring them under as well. Everything is so happy, joy. And then you got the weak black men who basically talk all of that fucking, money, economic, black power shit in the bathroom, in the workplace. But when you get in the hallway, these motherfuckers basically want to be on some, fucking old tap dancing and shit. But I'm going to go ahead and get off this video and take this phone call. You guys be cool. Sam Sim. Peace.